Whether you're an aspiring writer wondering where to start, want to expand on established writing skills, or are looking for a supportive space to write for fun, the Walpole Writers Group could be for you. Today, Walpole resident and published author Mark Resnick is here to tell us about the Walpole Writers Group and the impact it's had on his development as a writer. Can you start by telling us about yourself and how you started writing?
So my name is Mark Resnick. I grew up in the South Shore in a town called Norwell. I've been a Walpole resident for, over 20 years now. I've always been interested in writing. It was kind of my hobby growing up. I did a lot of journaling. In high school, I really enjoyed it. I did some extracurricular writing at the school. And then in college, I was an English major and a politics major, so my focus was definitely on creative writing. And it just kind of, I just loved the writing process. And I think for me, partly it was the way I grew up. Grew up in a household with all guys, my dad, my two brothers, and I don't know, it was just a way for me to sort of be on my own and just kind of get my thoughts on paper, and it was my own little world, so to speak. So it's just always been a passion of mine. But to be honest with you, I definitely took a many-year gap. Once I started having children, I wasn't writing at all. But then a few years ago, my dad got sick with Alzheimer's, and it just started to bubble up again, the need to write, and just kind of took off from there. There's probably 6 or 7 active members that make most of the meetings. In other words, we meet once a month. It's a great group of people. We have a couple women who have their PhDs in writing. They teach, one at the college level, one at the high school level. We have myself as a published author, and there's another gentleman who has several books published. And then there's a couple of people who just like to write. And I'm not sure if their goal is to write a book or they just want to work on their skills, their craft. So we have a little bit of a mixed group there.
Why is workshopping so important to the writing process, and how does the Walpole Writers Group provide that opportunity?
Yeah, I think writing can be kind of lonely. I mean, certainly I'm the only writer in my house, and I go to my office and I do my own little thing, and you're self-employed. Most of the people in the group are not full-time writers, so but still you're your own little company, your own little business, your own little craft, your own little hobby, and it can get kind of lonely. So it's very important to bounce your ideas off people. We take our writing seriously, but we don't take ourselves seriously, which is cool. And we take turns submitting work, and it's usually up to anywhere from 500 to 3,500 words per submission. And we look at 2 writers each month, and we get a few weeks to look at their work. And it's just so important to get that peer feedback, because you're in your own little bubble, and somebody says, well, I don't really understand what you mean by this, or, oh, I get it, this is what, and it's like, oh, I never really thought about that, So people's perspectives is just hugely important to the writing process. That collaboration is so key.
What are some reasons, either professionally or recreationally, why someone might want to improve their writing?
I don't think there's a better time to either start writing or pick up writing. I mean, COVID was just such a crazy time, and it still is. There was a lot of reprioritizing, and just people need to express themselves. It's so important to put your thoughts on paper, even if it's just a personal journal. I mean, that's not something we would obviously review in the group, but I think just getting your thoughts on paper and just your creative outlet has been missing for a couple of years now, and people just need to get back to that. I would say anyone who's interested in just starting, I don't know where to start. I mean, everyone in the group is somewhat experienced. Not professionals, but we're experienced, but just the starting process, just to have a local support group, a comfortable, friendly setting each time you present, and it's just a casual workshop.
What do you love most about writing?
I'll be honest, when I finished 10 Days with Dad, it was the first draft, it was just so bad. Just getting the information from my head and dumping it onto paper, But what I love about writing is the rewrite and the taking something that's so raw or so, I don't know, naive, or something so simple, and just kind of building on the layers of it and making it come together somehow at the end. I don't know how it comes together, but whether it's through workshops like this or professional editing, it just somehow it comes together, and there's no greater feeling than seeing something from scratch, just developing. It's almost like baking, you know what I mean? You just have these raw ingredients, and all of a sudden you have this finished piece in your hands, whether it's an essay or story or a book. It's a great feeling.
What advice would you give to someone who is either hesitant to start writing or has found themselves in a bit of a writer's block?
I think there's a lot of internal pressure people feel when they're writing, which they shouldn't. There's even when you sit down in front of your computer or your notebook, and you always want to say the right thing right away, which is just not realistic. I would say the biggest advice I always tell people who want to write or get into writing is just write every day. Even if it's 5 minutes, if you can be consistent with your writing, if you can build your writing muscles, you know what I mean? It's just like anything else. You have to build your muscles, your tolerance. I just say write every day, even if it's for 5 minutes, and you'll see it'll become easier. Writing gets easier with time and practice.
Finally, how has your involvement in the Walpole Writers Group supported your development as a writer?
It's interesting because I actually joined the Writers Group in the middle of writing 10 Days with Dad. And I just wanted others to, informally kind of take a peek at it and see what it was like. When my dad had Alzheimer's, he passed away from it. But I just needed a way to to vent. I just needed to kind of express my feelings, and writing was just a natural fit for me. But the more I started writing about my own feelings, the more I thought, oh there's a story here. There's something a message that I want other people to hear, which really morphed into just. For me, it took my dad's terminal disease to pursue my passions and get to do what I wanted to do. And I don't want other people to wait. The message is life is short. It's never too late. It's never too early to pursue your passions. So just do it now. Or if you want to lose weight, or if you want to, work out, don't wait for a tragedy to happen. Don't wait for some bad news. Just, try to get started right away, right now. Life is short.